Happiness and peace are not the opposite of anything. They can never be found on the scale of opposites. Happiness is not the opposite of having a bad mood or experiencing things that happen not as you want them to. If you can be clear about the fact that happiness is not the opposite of anything, then you will have great clarity as to where to actually find happiness. And happiness is in fact not really found. It is recognized. It is acknowledged. It is revealed. To find happiness, there must be space. We have to be available. Available not for something in particular. Available for the wholeness of what is. Available for the wholeness of what is implies that there is no focus on anything in particular from which we think to derive happiness. Which means complete embrace and unconditional acceptance of the whole. The whole which can never be divided into parts. If you perceive the whole as made of parts, this is not whole. This is just a mental concept of wholeness, but you're still perceiving parts. So for example, if you look at this very moment, you cannot think the wholeness of it with your mind. For your mind, there are only parts that can be gathered into an idea of wholeness. Like the experiences of your body, your mind, your location, all the factors that you can perceive through your senses, your thoughts and emotions, and from that derive some kind of pseudo-whole, but that is not wholeness. So whenever you try to be available for the whole through parts, you are actually missing the point. Because that which is whole cannot be divided into parts. It is unique and unknowable, indivisible. So this moment itself is whole. You cannot think it, and you cannot understand it with your mind. But you can be available for it, if the demand to know it, to define it, is released. So see if you can be open to this very moment as to that wholeness that can never be dissected into parts, that is indivisible. And you will see how free you start to feel, because there is no need to look for any cause for anything, because wholeness has no cause. It is just itself. It is not being caused by anything, and therefore there is no need to maintain there is no need to influence, there is no need to fix anything or to change anything. Whenever you perceive parts, you're constantly busy with interaction between the parts. That is how our mind works. Our mind is practical intelligence. It perceives objects, parts, and constantly tries to see what is the possible interaction between the objects. Possible interaction, of course, needs a desirable effect, because it is practical intelligence. So there is always a desirable effect out of possible interaction between objects. Perceiving wholeness is putting a complete end to that perception of reality. And it is because we perceive ourselves as another part that we suffer. Because as a part, we are constantly busy with creating some kind of effect through interaction. When we perceive ourselves as an object, then our mind is constantly looking for possible interactions with other objects in order to create some kind of effect, some kind of result. There is no possible peace, no rest, and no happiness in that condition ever. The journey of life, the journey of wisdom, is to become fully conscious, to expose this state of consciousness in which we perceive ourselves as an object, as a part, and as a result we perceive reality as a bunch of other objects and parts, and to put an end to this state of separation and suffering. Because as long as we perceive objects and parts, there is always tension, there is always insecurity, anxiety. To perceive wholeness is completely outside of the scope of this perception. So this perception has to be met with, acknowledged, and not being indulged in. And therefore the way to perceive the whole as a whole, indivisible and complete, has to be opened. And it is opened by fully seeing that this way of perception, to which we currently accustomed, perceiving objects and parts, is not true. Recognizing that, becoming conscious of that, through daily life, through all experiences that we are given, is the way of wisdom. It is the way in which we have become ready to put this whole perception aside as a false one, and to become available to see reality, to be reality, as it truly is.